welcome back to The Explainer. Today, I'm putting on my senior software architect hat to break down a really pivotal mentor session from Creative Coders India. We're looking at day 12 of their 120 Days Coding series, specifically from the @0 series. Look, today is all about laying the concrete. We're talking Python syntax and comments. As someone who's reviewed literally thousands of lines of code over the years, I can tell you right now that what we're covering today is exactly what's going to transform you from someone who just hacks together scripts into a reliable professional software engineer. So let's dive right in. So, quick quiz for you. What do you think separates amateur scripts from professional enterprise-grade software? Is it some incredibly complex algorithm? Or maybe some fancy new framework? Nope, not even close. The real secret? It's the foundational rules. It's having absolute discipline when it comes to the structure and communication within the code base itself. That is what actually elevates your code. If your code base is a house, well, today we aren't picking out the curtains, right? We are pouring the foundation and framing the load-bearing walls. Because without these core principles, the whole thing is just going to eventually collapse on you.
Okay, so let's define Python syntax. It's actually really simple, but completely absolute. It's the set of rules that defines a valid Python program. Think of it as the literal laws of physics for your codebase. It is entirely non-negotiable. If you violate these rules, the Python interpreter is going to throw a syntax error and flat out refuse to run. Just no way. When you're debugging, you always want to read that error traceback because it'll point you to the exact line where you broke those laws of physics. Knowing the syntax just means you know how to speak the language correctly, so the machine actually understands what you're trying to do.
All right, we need to lock these initial ground rules into our memory right now. First step, Python is case sensitive. This is a massive one. A variable named user with a capital U and user with a lowercase u, those are entirely distinct entities. Mix them up and your code crashes with a name error. There's zero leeway there. Second, statements execute in a logical top-to-bottom order. The interpreter is reading your logic sequentially. You can't ask it to execute step 3 before you've even defined step 1. And finally, a new line signifies the end of a statement. Just hitting enter and dropping to a new line is exactly how you tell Python, hey, I'm done with that thought, let's move to the next. You got to be really precise with those line breaks.
Moving on to our first main section, the load-bearing walls, focusing on indentation and the colon. Let's look at the actual physical structure of Python syntax.
I want to visually sear this symbol right into your memory. The colon. In Python, every single compound statement absolutely must start with this little gateway. For example, if you're writing an if statement, like if x is greater than 5, it has to end with a colon. It's basically shouting at the interpreter, get ready, a specific block of related code is about to follow. Missing this one single character is easily the #1 syntax mistake I see from junior developers, hands down. It just immediately breaks the structure.
And that brings us to a very magical number, 4. Once you use that colon we just talked about, the following block of code has to be indented. Code blocks in Python are defined by this indentation. And listen, it isn't just a style suggestion, it is mandatory syntax. The universal industry standard is using exactly 4 spaces to indent your code blocks. Not 3, not 5, exactly 4. And here is a massive debugging tip for you. Never, ever mix tabs and spaces. If you do, Python is going to hit you with an indentation error or a tab error, and your whole application crashes. That spacing is literally the glue holding your logic together. Let's shift gears to section 2, the blueprint, which is all about the power of code comments. This is where we learn how to effectively explain our code. As an architect, I can promise you this. Writing code for a machine is only half the job. The other half, writing for your human teammates. Now, the interpreter completely ignores comments. It treats them like they don't even exist, taking up 0 processing power. But they are the absolute most critical blueprints for human developers. And here's a pro tip for writing clean ones. Do not comment on what the code is doing. We can read the code, it already says that. You need to comment on why it's doing it. Comments provide the much-needed business context behind whatever complex logic you just wrote. So Python equips us with 2 specific tools for this. First, the single-line comment. You just start it with a simple hashtag. It's perfect for exactly what it sounds like, a really quick note to explain the very next line of code. Then we have multi-line comments, which are enclosed within triple quotes. Think of this like a docstring. Right after you define a complex function, you drop in 3 quotes, write out the function's parameters, what it returns, its core purpose, and then close it with 3 quotes. It's the professional convention for documenting architecture without having to copy-paste a hashtag at the start of 20 different lines. Seriously, if you take absolutely nothing else away from my mentoring today, please remember this. Good comments make your code easy to understand and maintain. That has to be your ultimate goal. Literally anyone can hack together a script that manages to work just once. But a senior developer writes professional code that survives. Code that can be understood and updated by other people for years to come. Your comments are a gift to the future. They save hours of time, they prevent bugs when people try to update things, and they make actual teamwork possible.
And that wraps up our architectural deep dive into day 12 of the @0 series. We've established the absolute, unbending rules of syntax, the structural necessity of indentation, and the vital power of comments. Be sure to check out Creative Coders India for more updates on this 120-day journey. But right before you go write your next line of code, I want you to ask yourself something. If you left your company today, would your code be a clear blueprint for the next developer or just a collapsing house of syntax errors? Think about it. See you in the next explainer.